Jim, let's talk about some retro figures. I have some here, some recent arrivals. Let's get your thoughts on some of these. I have here from a rather new toy company, Latuni.
Now what?
I thought it was L.A. Toonie, but apparently it's Latuni, Latonie.
Latuni!
It's a very catchy name, I must say.
It's on the tip of your tongue.
They are doing a line of retro LJN-style figures called Wrestling Giant Series, and I have here Andre the Giant.
Was that his footstep coming?
That's her!
Yes. So that's one of those big Peter North rubber jobs that just clunks down on the desk there.
This is the biggest Andre the Giant LJN in size ever, LJN style in size ever made. If you put it next to an LJN, it's approximately 2 heads taller. And he's in his
what's the girth like?
Let's not talk too dirty, but if you threw it at someone, they would go down quick.
Oh, so you can go down on it at the same time.
All right, I'm trying to keep this clean.
That's one of those specialty items.
This is not what you're supposed to do with this fine toy. It's gigantic.
Did Vince name it? Did Vince name it?
This is my Andre the Giant? You mean like did he?
Yes, this. And oh boy, howdy! I'll tell you what.
Oh, come on now.
Talk about a square peg in a round hole. Do you know Andre the Giant was so big his bathtub had stretch marks? You've heard about this.
What do you think you should do with Andre the Giant if you were making toys? And let's say, let's look at WWE's Mattel line, for instance, because they try to, I think, to the best of their ability or something like that, make it to scale so that a wrestler who's 5'10", that figure would look the same scale next to someone 6'5".
Yes.
If you're doing Andre, what do? Do you make him 7'4"? Do you make him 6'10"?
No, you make him 8 feet tall. You got to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. And don't mess with Mr. In Between. Go all the way. Be Jack Pfeffer with it. Make him about a time and a half bigger than the other ones because that's the idea of Andre the Giant. Then the little kiddies could all swarm Andre and take him down and tie a net around him like they did Gulliver when he visited the land of Lilliput.
Gulliver?
And set fire to his toes.
All right, well, let's move on from there. Maybe someone will put out a new line of Gulliver's Travels toys. He
went all over the place.
Jim, Hastel Toys, we've mentioned them in the past. They're brand new grapplers and gimmicks, or it's not brand new anymore, but their grapplers and gimmicks line has several new figures. I have here the model Rick Martel, with his perm, a sweater wrapped around his neck, and a can of arrogance in the Hasbro style. Rick Martel, does he get his due? As a babyface or as a heel?
Oh, I thought you meant from the toy company.
No, and by the way, the finishing maneuver is the arrogance splash.
Oh, boy.
Which is never
yeah, I don't. Did you ever see him do a splash? Ever?
Not the arrogance splash, no.
No, and you know, that is a shame because Rick Martel does not, he was a tremendous worker, both as a babyface, he was good looking, white meat, as they used to say, guy that when he sold, the fans would get behind him, but he was a very good in-ring technical worker as far as executing the moves, but also in terms of psychology and knowing how to sell and et cetera. And as a heel, he's French Canadian, and with love to our friends up there in the French Canadian parts of Canada, but they're a bunch of heat-getting motherfuckers. And so that accent helped, and the model look helped, and I can see where they came up with the gimmick for him because he was so smiley and purty, but excellent worker. But nobody. You don't see any Rick Martel matches. Is Rick Martel on any of the highlights they play of other people? Now that you've brought him up, why do we not see more Rick Martel these days, just even by accident? It's like, was he never even in with any of the guys they still like?
Well, one thing to remember, he is one of the guys that during his career, which he took very seriously, invested his money, I believe, in real estate and made a fortune. To the point where he doesn't have to do conventions or any of these things that some guys have to do.
Well, no, I didn't even say that. I'm just
He's
saying
just
it
never
seems like
around.
there's no footage played of with it. I don't remember all these other documentaries that they've done on these other people or specials, them beating up Rick Martel. Do you? They're just not showing any footage. He's not mentioned. He's not talked about.
Well, again, it would be old footage at this point, but he was a world champion in the
If we don't need
AWA
any
and-
goddamn money, then what are they doing to these figures? Is this some bootleg shit, or is he raking these people over the coals over at Hastel Toys?
I don't know how it works, but it's a very nice looking figure, and again, a very cool little can of arrogance, the spray.
What's it smell like?
It does not have a scent. Jim, another figure from Hastel
They should
Toys.
just put a little alcohol in there with a hint of taint.
Jim, I have here
Yes.
Damian Demento
Oh, Jesus Christ.
with his finishing move, the Demented Drop. This is apparently Damian Demento, and it comes with, I don't know what you would call his shoulder pad situation, but a very nicely put together figure. Looks like it's in the Hasbro style perfectly. Jim, was he still
Yes.
there when you came in? Because he was there early 93. And let's talk about guys that look like killers in the magazines, and then you saw them wrestle.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I'm trying to remember, was he there? We came in late July 1993. He's one of those guys that, yeah, it was a great look, but you don't really remember the matches. I only remember him standing there. I don't remember one match he ever fucking had.
See, I was seeing him on local TV here. He was in IWCCW, Mondo Clean. And he kind of had like a, I hate to say Road Warriors because he didn't have face paint, but like that kind of look. He had the crazy hairdo and the shoulder pads and...
Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe he might even have been on a Dennis Coralluzzo show or two that I might have been around. I'm not. But also there was a Damian Demento and a Danny Demento. Wasn't there?
Well, this is Damian.
Well, as Fats Domino. So the point is, yeah, great look, but
which name passes the name test? Mondo Clean or the name Vince McMahon gave him, Damian Demento?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I would bet the farm on either one of them, but I would go with Damian Demento over Mondo Clean, unless I was bald-headed with earrings and peddling Lysol.
Jim, one more from the Hastel Toys Grapplers and Gimmicks line, brand new Santa Claus, a new Santa Claus Hasbro-style figure with his finishing move, the Sack Attack, and it comes with a big white sack.
Santa Claus, even when I was a kid, he had a big white sack.
What do you think of the idea of doing a Santa Claus figure? There have been numerous appearances by an alleged Santa Claus on wrestling throughout the years, sometimes not as a heel.
Well, that's the thing is, is this part of the, Christmas toy line of Santa and his evil dwarves, or do they have, Mrs. Claus to go with it, or just because Santa sometimes pops in on a wrestling show, they should do Santa Claus.
I believe that is in the works because I saw he's doing a Balls Mahoney and a Santa Claus, it looks like.
Oh, my God. Okay, then.
Mitch and Hastel Toys. Hello, Mitch.
Well, then do Boo Bradley, and you've got him covered. But poor old Santa Claus, maybe I could see that, but I don't know about Santa Claus because,
That is one of those things we still need as a line of guys in their Smoky Mountain, I hate to say character, but as they were in Smoky Mountain, we have a Tony Anthony as a plumber. Apparently there's one coming up of him as a hillbilly, but not one of him as the dirty white boy, which
he was for like 15 years.
Well, Jim, let's go to another line of toys here. These just came in. A lot of people like me were waiting for them, and these are spectacular. These guys deliver every time. Epic Toys, their Wrestling Megastar series. 4 new figures. I'll start with this one. Barry Windham. And he's wearing the vest. It's a soft goods vest, little leather vest here, that he wore in the early 90s, but it's like the 1988-89 version of Barry Windham. Blonde hair. You could change his hand to give him a claw hand with the black glove. What did you think of Barry Windham when he finally turned heel in 1988?
Oh, well, again, BW from 1984 through 1989 or thereabouts was just surreal in how good he was in the ring for a guy that tall, and that body weight, how he could move that fast and that gracefully, and the effortless bumps he took and the way he threw himself into everything. And he could sell his ass off as a baby face, but as a heel, he had the mulligan demeanor. He was incredible in the ring, and everybody considered him one of the top 5 guys in the ring in the business when it came to strictly pro wrestling performing. And, again, with today's eyesight or today's glasses on, as they say, he was a dadgum good promo because he didn't sound canned and over dramatic and phony like the guys do today, but he wasn't the promo of the people that surrounded him, the Flairs and the Arns and the Dusties and all of the NWA guys. So, that's what everybody always wanted him to be, the guy in the NWA, which he was in the ring. His promos may have been good enough to get by because he was so good in the ring, but he wasn't the charismatic vocal draw of, the top guys. And then everything just kind of over the next few years went to hell.
What'd you think of the idea of him using the claw and wearing the black glove?
That was great because even though another generation had gone by in the Carolinas and Georgia since Blackjack Mulligan had been the top guy there, and there was a whole nother part of the country that maybe had not even seen Blackjack Mulligan. It wasn't like they were playing off of the thing with the new Blackjacks when Bradshaw and Wyndham were the new Blackjacks and Eddie Coffey, Lanza, and Mulligan. It was just, here's this fucking big, tall kid from Texas, and he's got the fucking glove on this claw hand that he's using. And his hands were fucking big, because the rest of him was big too. Don't take that the way it sounded. And so it worked on his own, but it was an homage, if you were in the know, to Blackjack. But that you could also slip something in the glove and the blah, blah, blah. It was a thing as a heel to get heat. It wasn't just kind of corny because his dad did it. It was his own thing. I didn't mind that. As a heel, he did great work at that time period.
Were you surprised when they turned him? I mean, him and Luger were just put together just before that. Luger had just turned just before that. Were you surprised when he turned on Luger?
To be honest, I may have been, but I can't remember exactly. And I can't remember why they did it. Because it didn't involve us at that period of time.
The Horseman's money.
That's right.
And women.
But I think at that point, they also, with Ole had bowed out by that point, they wanted to beef up the Horsemen. And Flair loved Wyndham, and so JJ, Dusty obviously did. So it was just like, let's beef up the Horsemen.
Jim, another figure from this line of wrestling megastars, Epic Toys, the Barbarian. This is the look he had in the early 90s in the WWF after Bobby Heenan started managing him. After he kind of dropped the Road Warrior-esque look, grew his hair out, no more face paint, and had fur. He had this figure here has a.
Didn't he also have antlers on a helmet? Or am I thinking of Nord?
This figure has a removable antler crown. It also has a soft goods furry. It's actually feels very nice. A furry. This is not a vest. It is a cape, I guess you would say. The Barbarian. What do you think? I mean, he's got that name, and it's such a great name. What should his look be? Should it be something like that? Should it be something like the face-painted crazy guy in the Paul Jones family?
Well, I see where they were going with, the face paint and the leather wristbands and accoutrements that guys were wearing at that point in time, if they were a big guy with, a good body, was kind of an homage to the Road Warriors. Well, not kind of an homage, outright ripoff for the most part of the Road Warriors. But the Barbarian, to me, I can see if you would have more of a medieval type of, but I would hope maybe more of a Thor, God of Thunder type of, boots and, whatever, maybe the furry cape, but not like a caveman where it's kind of over the top funny. Because Barbarian at that point looked like he would eat you for lunch. Or maybe a Conan type of thing is more what I'm trying to say. But as I recall, the antlers didn't look any more serious on him than it did when the boogeyman tried to wear them. And it just kind of, it looked like it was a little too cartoon, as Frank Hickey would say, and doomed him to the mid-card.
I just saw Body Slam again the other day. For the first time in a while. I forgot how much I like his voice, the Barbarian, because he could barely speak English, it seems like, but one of his lines to M. Harry Smilak is, "Your name, Smilak?" He can't even say it, but his voice sounds so funny.
Is it your name, Smilak? He's been in this country for 45 fucking years, and he still talks kind of like that.
They would have worked as a tag team. Looking at them in that movie, T.J. Khan and the Barbarian worked well together in terms of look and style at that point. Jim, 2 more figures here. Same line, Epic Toys. Steve Dr. Death Williams. This comes with his white and red robe, his Dr. Death boots. A fine-looking figure here, Steve Dr. Death Williams. Will we ever get an 84 Mid-South Dr. Death? Blue singlet. Big gut. We will find out. This one's in good shape. Finally, Jim, from Epic Toys, Wrestling Megastars, Ric Flair, and this is Ric Flair in his green robe with the green trunks and everything, but they actually have a fancy little robe here that the figure comes with, and give them credit. They are the first toy line to put out a Ric Flair figure in the last few years that doesn't have blowjob mouth. I know everyone wants it to go, woo, but when you actually try to put it in a figure, it just looks like he's ready to blow someone.
Yeah, it's like a 6-inch tall version of a sex doll, right? And I want to not only the rookie Dr. Death Steve Williams before he lost the weight and trimmed down and had the blue singlet on, but how about the real rookie when he had a T-shirt on underneath that? Yeah. That was real early.
The white shirt.
And with Flair now, is this the green, the lion jungle robe, like Elvis's Jungle Room, the jungle robe?
Yes, I believe so. It's yeah.
So the figure only costs $39.95, but the robe costs $5,000, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I wonder if the estate of Mr. Wrestling 2's wife gets a cut of any of these little robes that are made off her design. But this is a very nice looking figure. What do you think about Flair's colors? I've never been a fan of Flair in purple. Even though there are matches I love of Flair that he's wearing purple. I never liked it. Green was okay, but the older he got, green wasn't really a flattering color. Red, I thought always worked, but he kind of stopped wearing red so much. White every now and then when he was a babyface or even a heel. What color was Ric Flair best in?
I'm with you on the green. I was never a big green fan. Remember that light blue robe that he had? I think he and Valentine, when they were tag team champions, had some type of blue concoction. But really, all of his stuff looked so nice, and it was different designs. And even if it was the same color, it was a different style or whatever. So except for, like I said, the green and honestly, I didn't have a problem with the purple. I thought the purple was cool, and he had he had different color tights, knee pads, or trunks, I should say, knee pads, boots for every occasion. Only the green. You see anything green? Not a fan of the green.
So you weren't a fan of the light blue trunks. You're not talking about the robe from Starrcade 83, because I never liked that robe, even though that's one of his most famous ones.
I can't remember. But I like blue. I'm a fan of blue. Baby blue, robin's egg blue, navy blue, blue velvet, cordon blue.
Well, again, very cool figure. These are from Epic Toys. And on the topic of figures, you may want a Jim Cornette figure, and there's a place to get it right now, and that's Cornette's Collectibles at jimcornette.com.
Well, that's exactly right. And folks, I don't even know if I can reveal the news right now because it may take till next week to get set up, but we have new product coming up on the website at jimcornette.com. You just go there and click on collectibles. So you'll want to tune in next week when we make that announcement. And there's also always DVDs, books, t-shirts, action figures, and more. And big news coming up next month. It's just a couple weeks now. I will be able to reveal and revelate what the fine wrestling connoisseurs are going to be wanting to purchase out there this holiday season for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Arbor Day, and everything everybody celebrates.
Cornosaurs.
The connoisseurs of fine Cornette collectibles. Connoisseurs.
That's right. At jimcornette.com, all of those things.
Right there.
Well, you know, Jim, we're talking figures and we're talking commerce and we're talking storefronts. I actually don't know if we're talking storefronts, but everyone needs a storefront, either real or virtually.
Or imagined.
If you have a business, a real business, not an imagined business, but you could use a virtual storefront. And of course, we have talked about how our online store is powered by our friends at Shopify. And we think we could tell a lot of other people something else, right, Jim?
Something else, anything else. Just stop it. Just stop it, man. I'll tell you what, right now, you're going to get more than a storefront. You're going to get the whole daggum store. People, when they walk through the door, they're not just going to automatically be in the backyard. You're going to get a store to go behind that storefront because that's how good Shopify is. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. 10% of all e-commerce in the United States of America today is tied up with Shopify there, and you can make it 11%. And they will send out a team of contractors and carpenters to build your storefront and put your store behind it. And then they'll tell you how your shit ought to look when it goes on sale. And then they'll find your customers and they'll tell them all about it. They will send people up and down the streets of every major city, tapping people on the shoulder going, hey, did you hear about Herb's seasoning? He's got seasoning for Dalmatian flanks. And you can buy it from us right now, and they'll pull it out of their pockets. That's how personal the service from Shopify is. Brian, well, as a matter of fact, you've seen the Shopify team wearing our show shirts. That's hard to say. Shopify team wearing our show shirts. They walk down the streets. They tap people on the shoulder. They say, hey, you want to buy this shirt off of me?
That's not how
and
it works.
People will give them $10 just to get them to go away. They don't even want the shirt.
Again, let's go back to the very beginning where we all began, ladies and gentlemen. Virtual storefront, and you need a partner for your business, someone who can make sure your products are available everywhere on the World Wide Web, if we are still indeed calling it that. Of course, our online store, you can go to ArcadianVanguard.com, but the great thing is, you can just go to the Shop app and search for Jim Cornette. Boom! Drive-Thru t-shirts. The Shop app is where you want to be for your products.
And that's where that purple pay button is. Is it purple, Brian, or would you say that that's a more of a lavender mauve? But nevertheless, even if it's more lilac-y.
Lilac. I would say it's lilac-y. Yes.
It's lilac-y. It's a very lilac-y color purple that you can just punch that. Everybody knows what that is. You punch that button, the elevator comes, the whole nine yards. So anyway, Shopify, they'll help you with product images, product descriptions, generating discount codes, social media campaigns. They will tell people about your product, and then they will enable them to give them money where they will then turn over and give it to you, and you will have the money and you'll send out the product, and boom, and there goes the kid in the bicycle. And they've got 24/7 customer support in case you want to call a lawyer to sue that kid that ran you down with that bicycle. But you can turn your dreams into reality. And cha-ching.
Let's focus on, we can talk about ka-ching. There's ka-ching. Yes. I can't say it, but we can focus on it.
Yes.
Let's focus on reality. The thing that is scaring me so much at this moment. Jim.
Yes.
Reality is every businessman needs an online store that they know and trust, a partner they can rely on. We trust Shopify. The wrestling toy makers can trust Shopify, and so can the listeners. And we have a great promo code with a sale, which with a great deal, I should say. We should probably get to all this before this all goes even worse.
Why don't you just stop, man? Sign up right now for a $1 a month trial period because Shopify is reality. Shopify.com/JCE. You're going to get a $1 a month trial period so they can hook you. They can get their claws into you and they can show you how indispensable they can be in your life, ladies and gentlemen. Shopify.com/JCE. $1 a month trial period. Start selling today.
Well, there it is, the official ka-ching of Shopify. We trust them. You can too. Check them out.